Welcome to another Transfer Express webinar. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Dave. I have about 10 years in the print industry, mostly design and marketing experience, but everything from business cards, t-shirts, everything. I am fairly new here to the Transfer Express installs family. However, I'm absolutely loving it. And this is why, because of you guys passionate about your craft and t-shirt printing, servicing your customers, or maybe even running your own brand. It just, it makes me so happy to see everybody here today looking to better themselves and take their business further. Of course, today we are going to be covering selling t-shirts at craft shows. Now, this might be a misleading title because we're going to talk about a little bit more than just t-shirts. So this should be selling apparel or selling goods at craft shows in there. So the things that we are going to be covering today in the selling t-shirts at craft shows kind of entire presentation that I've got for you guys here today is finding your niche and even your audience. We could talk about a little bit too. We're going to be talking about your product line. Freddie over there is watching and pressing Goof Proof right now. I love it. I love Goof Proof. Freddie, what kind of press you got? What kind of press you pressing that Goof Proof with? Because I love the autoclam, the Goof Proof screen printed transfers. If you guys are unfamiliar with our screen printed transfers, I'm going to do a shameless plug here because I just absolutely love the quality, the look and feel and ease of use. Yes, I am talking applying and printing a t-shirt in 4 to 6 seconds. 4 to 6 seconds is so fast that you can absolutely, it's just a huge profit opportunity here. And now we're talking about printing fast. That's gonna matter because, well, that'll be coming up. I don't want to Hotronix autoclam 16 by 20. Freddie knows what's up. I love it. I love it. We're gonna have a good time today, and I hope you guys get a whole bunch of information from this webinar. Back to the agenda here. After the product line, like I talked about earlier, it's not just t-shirts. We'll talk about some other items that you could be printing and making profit with as well. But we're going to talk about creating and ordering your designs as well. So that's using kind of our end of how easy it could be. We'll talk about booth setup, payment types, packaging, and even promoting your booth. So action-packed day today. And we're going to get through it. So I know that now that the pandemic is kind of, waning in some parts of the country, that these in-person events are coming back. And it was one of my favorite things to do, especially coming up around this holiday time where we all should be kind of planning for this, that it is incredibly important to get in front of your local community with these shows, or even if they're themed, but I loved going to them with my family and doing some Christmas shopping. So that's the great thing about these craft shows that you guys probably already know, is that you are showing up, or your customers are showing up cash in hand, ready to buy. People come to these shows looking to make a purchase. So aside from, like shopping on the internet or being in, just having a store in the mall or something like where people are browsing around, people don't really go to these craft fairs, the flea markets, the local holiday fairs to just browse. They are coming money in their hand, ready to shop. So this is a great opportunity to really make a successful event out of whatever you are attending. So the first up on our list today, we're going to talk about finding your niche. So this could be, whatever's going to make you stand apart and kind of that you could tailor your entire product selection around. We're talking infant wear, onesies, youth shirts, little tiny skirts like you see at the bottom there. You could get those and print them and personalize them with your own brand. But this is something incredibly popular, especially for gifts. Little onesies, if you're talking the holiday presents or even baby showers, you look to see where people are buying it. So if you haven't carved your niche out already, now is a perfect time to try to think about it, because it's going to set you up for some success here. Doll clothes is a huge thing you'll see at these craft fairs and festivals. Community spirit, or like local pride. Here in the Cleveland area where Transfer Express is based in Mentor, Ohio, there are tons of t-shirt shops that are around solely to provide Cleveland-based apparel, not affiliated with any school or a professional sports team, but just the city itself, which is pretty cool. And as I've seen other cities do it too, there's just that huge outpouring of local pride. And I think now more than ever, I mean, we're relying on each other, and we're proud of our geographic location and the city as we kind of pull out of this pandemic. So very, very cool thing that at least I've seen. And I know that at the craft fairs and the flea markets, the holiday flea markets here, that I've personally bought local themed apparel for a Christmas present or just for myself as I attended these shows. So obviously holiday, as we roll into the holidays, you'll see a lot of seasonal or holiday apparel at a lot of these similar events. So that's going to be something that you'll see kind of come up time and time again. And then regardless of the season, if you stay seasonal with like current holidays, if it's in summer, you could be doing 4th of July or like barbecue kind of apparel or aprons for the grill master. If you catch my drift, that's kind of what we're laying down. Now, another thing that's becoming increasingly popular are, building a niche around TVs or movies or music. You just have to be mindful of licensing, which is great because then you could actually make some really creative apparel options with quotes or kind of minimalistic imagery that isn't copyrighted or isn't part of any licensing for that particular TV show. Or, like if we're talking, let's say like if you want to do kind of fantastical or fantasy themed apparel, and you could pick Harry Potter, but instead of saying Harry Potter, you could just use glasses and a little lightning bolt. And that's a way that you could kind of skirt that licensing with, I don't think a pair of round glasses and a lightning bolt is necessarily trademarked by the Harry Potter estate, but you're able to kind of move around that. You could skirt it in a way while providing unique apparel to fans of that TV show or genre or movie, regardless of what you're doing. So you can even kind of mix and match that a little bit with, like, say, if you're doing local pride. But one thing I would be very, very cautious of doing is offering way too wide of a selection, because then nobody's actually going to get to, really understand the value of your business or what you offer. Like if you're remembered by being like, oh, dude, that's the superhero comic book t-shirt guy. Like the more and more that people go to these shows and see you, they know what you're offering and they're more likely to buy from you because now they don't have to like figure out who you are. Like, oh, it's really confusing. There's just a whole bunch of different smattering of shirts. You could definitely build a nice catalog of products. Charity, how do you find out if something is trademarked? Google search is always the best way. So the way that like we have a couple webinars and videos that we've put together about licensing and how to avoid it and get around it and, just not get in trouble. Now, the first thing of what's going to happen, especially if you're pre-printing a whole bunch of apparel, the first thing that's going to happen if you are using a trademarked image or a copyrighted image is that somebody's going to send you a cease and desist, in which case in that part of the legal process, you'd absolutely stop what you're doing or lawyer up if you think what you're doing is right. Now, Google search is going to be your friend. I've used it for sports licensing a ton because you would be actually surprised that some sports teams have their city name in, like, say, a script and tail font. Say if it's like the Los Angeles Dodgers, you cannot put Los Angeles in a script and tail font because the Los Angeles Dodgers own the copyright on that type of artwork. So you do have to be a little careful, but usually you could Google search and say, like, is Mickey Mouse copyrighted or is Mickey Mouse trademarked? Like, and obviously the Google searches are going to come back and say yes. And then even in some cases, there are databases of, certain listings in comic books or movies or TV, and it'll even tell you who owns the specific trademark. If you want to try to license that apparel, you could reach out to them and do it legally. So, Sherry, I hope that that answers kind of some of that question. But that's a great question because we do want to avoid that because we don't want you to get in trouble, and we want you to be able to be confident in your product and make good profits from this. That's why you're going to this event, to sell, to make money. And so it's really, really so much easier to sell and tailor your product offerings if you do have your niche figured out. And I talked about that brand awareness a little bit earlier, that people are going to be aware of what your value is to the apparel decorating industry. You just got to make it clear of what you do. So with your niche figured out, you're going to talk about your product line. And this is where I kind kind of talk about, this is the how to sell t-shirts at a craft fair, selling t-shirts at craft shows webinar. However, we're going to talk about so much more than t-shirts. So t-shirts are a great starting point. Everybody wears a t-shirt. It's, maybe not everybody wears a t-shirt, but everybody's got a t-shirt in their closet at home. Now, with the right artwork, it becomes so much more than a t-shirt. It reminds them of a memory or something that's their favorite movie, TV show, like we were talking about, or the local pride, or even events, holidays, all that stuff, or just kind of funny. You want to kind of try to think about the emotion at play when you're thinking about your t-shirt designs, or at least that's the advice that I give to a lot of people I talk to. Even though maybe it's not directly outward, there's an emotion with almost everything we do, whether it be happiness or laughter or fear, or even, there's certain worry, or, there's just so much that goes into the products that we sell that you could really connect with people. So I don't want to get too deep on that. Let's talk about these products. So t-shirts, can coolers, the koozies are a great add-on. And we're going to get into it a little bit later, decorating with screen printed transfers makes it really super easy. Sean, if you do have a canopy, heat transfer vinyl works really, really good actually on it. They're usually 100% polyester. I've done it to my own one. But for some of these fairs and festivals, I guess, Sean, depending on where you're living, the majority of ours, at least here in Cleveland, after November, it starts to get quite chilly and windy. And rainy and snowy and wet, but we could go on about the weather. But yeah, those booth canopies, the canopies that you have, that are outdoor, the pop-up ones, usually those are 100% polyester canopies. So I've had great luck with heat transfer vinyl on those. I would not use the permanent adhesive vinyl. That just the way it folds up and comes off, it's just going to be bad. If you do have a large heat press, you could do it in sections. So even if you're decorating across the entire 10-foot front of it, just do 24-inch sections at a time, or however large your heat press is. Back on over to the products. The can coolers, like I was mentioning, are awesome. They come in a wide variety now. So even like how White Claw got really popular with the skinny cans. So you could buy can coolers in that skinny variety as well. And having those, those kind of different options appeals to different markets and could help you sell more. Because, somebody always comes at these shows like, yeah, I love the design on that koozie. I absolutely want one. But am I really going to use it? Because I'm usually drinking White Claw in the skinny cans, or like even like the tall boys and, whatever. There's only a few different size cans, but having some different options, those are super easy and cheap to pick up on Amazon, and then just decorate, with a few different pieces of artwork that you had on your gang sheet. More on that later. And you are set up with an awesome low risk, affordable product that you could sell at these shows. Tote bags, another huge one, especially as you get kind of more on that like deluxe tote end. But with, I don't know about you guys where you are in the country, but here in Cleveland, specifically in Ohio, there's been laws that have been passed to replace plastic bags. So everything going to paper, and everybody encouraging the use of reusable bags. So that is one thing that could be done, especially when you have like a really nice design for something that somebody's really interested in. They'd much rather carry around that more deluxe tote bag than say those cheap, just, recyclable, multi-use grocery bags. So those tote bags are a great gift and product to offer as well. Of course, when we talk about the winter coming up, hoodies, sweatshirts, jackets, all of that outerwear, the quarter zips, all that stuff decorates so well with screen printed transfers. And you're able to get that. Aprons are a sweet thing. Like I mentioned, if you're doing the, seasonal apparel, the clam bakes here for the fall that we have, you have even, the Thanksgiving aprons, if, dad goes out and fries a turkey every year, or, for mom, for, I don't know about you guys in your house, but we always do like Christmas cookie baking weekend. So like even making aprons for that. Now, the thing with heat printing is that you could customize it too. So like that could be something that you could offer, especially if you're printing in booth, but a little bit more on that later. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here. Towels, tea towels, The placemats, especially gearing up for the holidays here, that is a huge aspect of, the holiday decoration. So don't forget about those towels. Even if you're talking anything sports related, instead of like the craft fair, the spirit towels, the rally towels, those are an awesome way to, add an upsell to even like a t-shirt if you're running your own custom apparel business. But they are an awesome, again, low risk for the buyer, because they're a very affordable product. That's not like, oh, hey, here's, $25 for a t-shirt or something. It's $4 a towel, or you could even bundle those together, because bundling things together is a great way to even sell more at these shows and maximize your investment in going to the event and maximize your profit, and the revenue that you're actually taking home. Another thing is mouse pads, funny little sayings on mouse pads, or again, whatever your niche is. But if you have your niche figured out, you can figure some of these products could really fit in there, because one thing you don't see on this list is, of course, like infant onesies. And onesies are a huge aspect of, toddler apparel. But even if you're doing, say, local items, or even, any movie and TV stuff, you could always add those onesies and youth apparel. In just, small quantities. Make it low risk for yourself, of course, so you're not sitting on a whole bunch of onesies if your audience is not into buying onesies. But for almost any actual, niche that you're going to find and what you're going to make your products on, there's going to be parents who want to dress their little babies, or aunts or uncles who are so proud to be, an aunt or uncle that want to, give a nice little gift. Blankets, of course, coming into the holidays here and the colder weather, having those themed blankets is always super popular, especially if you could, kind of group up with another local crafter who's, or a local business that's making those blankets. And then you're able to add some level of personalization or like monogramming with them. And of course, using express names that we have here at Transfer Express could, reduce the cost of those prints to like $1.80 a piece, which is just super, super easy and cheap. Let us handle all the cutting, and you actually get a nice screen printed product. And then another thing, pillows. Of course, any of the decorative kind of holiday decorations, especially now going into Thanksgiving and Christmas time, that the pillows become more and more. So, you could even think about extra stuff that you could decorate. The one thing that I just saw that I thought was so awesome was just decorating little pieces of fabric that they bought at a craft store and then putting them in embroidery hoops. So you'd press your screen print transfer on it and then put it into an embroidery hoop. And it becomes almost, you could get the big ones to be hanging on the door, or you could even get the little ones that become like ornaments or little just like shelf knickknacks. It's the family Christmas 2021 or whatnot, or just little reindeer. There's just the possibilities are limitless. And you could do pretty much anything you could think of with those, and people will want to buy them, and they're perfect for, little craft shows like this. So let's talk about creating your products now. So with creating your products, we're going to be using, of course, here at transferexpress.com, we have EasyView Online Designer. Now, if you haven't used EasyView Online Designer, it is an incredibly powerful, free online designer packed full of 10,000 plus layouts and clip art. And you could add your own text. You could swap clip art out. If you say, I like this artwork, but it has a reindeer in it, and I really wanted to switch it for a Christmas tree, you could easily do that. Now, we have tons of videos, if you are brand new to us, that you could check out on our YouTube on how to use EasyView Online Designer. Also, all you need is just an account. So your registration never expires. You just have to register for a free account. If it's your first time signing up for an account, we're going to send you a little pack of free samples so you can see and feel and touch our quality for yourself. And you get access to this EasyView Online Designer. So that is that's just one of the biggest points of having a Transfer Express account. Because all of this artwork here, the Believe, the bells, the Dear Santa, the Santa hat, the Santa on the sleigh, all of this clip art's there, even down to on the bottom right, you could see there's an inside tag for Santa wear, where you could rebrand all of the apparel yourself. We have quite a few inside tag variations there that you could just swap your own logo in for, or double click and change the text. But when I say it's easy to use, guys, it is so super easy to use. And even I come from the design background, and that's how I got in the printing industry. But even knowing Illustrator and Photoshop, that I could approach, EasyView Online Designer and feel comfortable, because it actually gives me the controls that I want to have, say in like a program like Adobe Illustrator, where I'm working with vector graphics. So it just is so super powerful. The ordering, you could like put the layers up and down. You could, easily copy and paste, duplicate or mirror images. It's just so super powerful. And if you guys haven't played with it, you have to go in there and play with it. It's just so super cool. And we're releasing new artwork for it all the time. Even I mentioned I'm a designer. And when you're in the print industry for long enough, man, I tell you, every single person just knows me as the t-shirt guy in like my friends and family circle. So when somebody asks me, hey, man, Dave, could we do this t-shirt? I'm thinking like just a little bit of curved text, and like where I would usually go into Illustrator. And I would work in Illustrator for maybe, a half an hour, 45 minutes, just laying out a basic idea. And of course, I'm an over analyzer, so I'm going to tweak it for a little bit and make sure it looks really good. Whereas I could go to EasyView Online Designer and find a layout that is already what they're talking about, and take my design time for even something simple down from 45 minutes to literally 5 minutes. And then I'm shooting proofs over to my friends or family and saying, hey, is this what you're thinking? With literally no risk at all. I barely invested my time. And you could see there in the screenshot right on the bottom left, it says save job. So you could save your project always and have it saved to your account. And I saw somebody in there, Marge, we already have designs already made up for the holidays ready to buy, and we add more layouts every single week. So you could go in there and everything's categorized. Like on the left-hand side, you could click add layout and then go scrolling down, and you'll see holidays already marked there. And then we break it down by a whole bunch of different holidays. There's a search bar at the top when you click on layout or add your art, where you could actually search. So if you search Christmas or Hanukkah or any holiday, even Thanksgiving coming up, you could say Thanksgiving or Halloween. Obviously, I don't want to forget about Halloween. A little tight deadline if you're going to be producing some apparel, but with EasyView Online Designer, if you're doing a one color artwork here like this Santa, everything is one color, the background's red. An order like this will ship the next day if ordered before 11 a.m. So screen printed transfers from Transfer Express. Yes, we are express. Ship as fast as 1 business day. So that is just, it's super, super important. So another thing I'm going to talk about creating your own designs is building gang sheets. So you could see here, there's 3 different artworks and the tag. So the Believe with the snowflakes and Santa flying across with the reindeer. I think he's missing a few reindeer in that clip art. Dear Santa, I was framed to be on the naughty list. That is another artwork that you could see going on the left chest, or maybe a youth apparel, or we're talking onesies. You can fit that on a onesie as well. And then the Mr. and Mrs. First Christmas, maybe a great gift for the newlyweds, or your friends who maybe just bought a house together or something. Like, there's so much that you could do, but there's 3 pieces of artwork on one gang sheet. So now you're splitting the cost of that entire sheet down to 3. Oh, and you're also getting some free branding. We're not even going to take into consideration that the free branding is right there for your Santa wear clothing line. So that's a great way that if there's any extra space on the sheet, fill it up. I always encourage people to put their own logos on there, because you can never have too many screen prints of your own logo, especially if you're doing something in a color that you don't do too often. You have a customer who's doing like lime green, or you have a design that looks sweet in lime green, and you have some extra space on that sheet, go ahead and throw your own logo on there in lime green, so that you never know when you're going to use it. And it's free printing space. If you don't have anything else to go on there, we don't charge you for the ink, we charge you for the sheet. So the more that you have on that sheet, the lower the print cost is going to be per piece. And you're going to be, you're straight up taking advantage of us maximizing that sheet. So do it. And then another thing is the same print could go on multiple items and colors. So like we're talking about using the onesies or the t-shirts, or even tote bags, or we're talking about printing on aprons, or even lunch bags. The little coolers and stuff take our screen printed transfers really, really well. So you could use any of these in different sizes. or, a full-size t-shirt graphic is going to fit fine on a tote bag. So, Jeffrey, yes, there is a minimum order of 6 sheets. So you'll need to buy at least 6 sheets of any of our screen printed transfers. So I'm talking Goof Proof, Elastiprints, the Hot Split Retro, or any of like our effects like glow in the dark or glitter. 6 is the minimum quantity, but you're buying the full sheet. And the sheet size is 11.5 by 14. So you could pack a ton of different products all onto one sheet, a ton of different designs if you're not doing full size. But even if you're doing a full size, you could do a little, you could fit a little left chest or even a little inside tag print or small logo. A huge thing that we've seen now just recently blow up in popularity is on long sleeves or sweatshirts or hoodies. You'll see the brand of whoever printed the sweatshirt down by the cuff. So it's still on the sleeve, but it's now down near the cuff. We just did a video on hoodies and even those kind of trending placements for the fall on our YouTube channel, if you want to go on over there. So 3 images per sheet. Jeffrey has a question here. So I have 3 images per sheet. I have to have 6 of each, or can each of the 6 gang sheets be different? So each one of those sheets, you're buying one sheet and you have to buy 6 of the same exact sheet. You can put different artwork on the sheet, but not on each individual sheet. You will buy 6 copies of exactly the same artwork on one sheet. So yeah, if you're doing like one-offs and stuff, screen printed transfers may not be the most cost-effective way of doing it. But if you're printing anything, I say at like 6 quantity or more, it really makes sense to do screen printed transfers. At that rate, the more you buy, the cheaper per piece is. And at least in my personal experience and buying transfers with us, I always opt for just 12 because you could double your order for like $4 more. So why not have extra transfers? And especially when you're a custom decorator and you're not necessarily maybe decorating for your own brand, but if you are a custom decorator, having those extra sheets handy is just super, super just clutch when you need to, print on maybe a substrate you're not used to printing on and you want to do a couple test prints. Worst case scenario, you have the extra transfers to play with. Best case scenario, man, the test worked out perfect and you could hook your customer up with some extra pieces to their order. Even if you're doing your own brand, having those extra sheets is awesome because sometimes you don't anticipate a style selling so well. And somebody goes, man, I really just want one more of those. And you're like, well, I only listed, 6 on the website, but I had double the amount of transfers. Let me do another limited edition run. And I don't have to pay anything. Everything is already paid off already because I priced everything according to selling all of the gang sheets. And now I have more, or half of the gang sheets if you're saying 6 quantity. Charity, we did actually a video, and it's on our YouTube, about how long the transfers last when stored correctly. So we're saying in a dry climate, away from sunlight, not too hot, not too cold, and your temperature's not shifting drastically between the two. We've seen transfers last longer than 10 years. We actually print and press and this was all like not cut up to be studio magic, but we pressed a 10-year-old transfer, goof proof, and a tube color, and it applied absolutely perfectly fine. Now, of course, if it gets wet or, it's in a super high humid climate, the adhesive and ink is going to break down. Same with excessively dry. If you live out in the desert, those inks are actually going to start to super dry out after a while. I mean, depending on how dry it is, and they will not print and have that elasticity that they have. But we wash tested the 10-year-old print that we did, and it washed fine. It looks absolutely perfect. They last just as long on the t-shirt as they do on a transfer. Just keep them out of your car. The one that we pressed was stored in a filing cabinet in an office for over 10 years. And so it applied perfectly fine at exactly the same instructions. Didn't need to do anything. Of course, if you have transfers that have been sitting around for a long time, press one as a test and wash test it before you start doing a huge run. You'll kind of see that as a theme over and over, especially when you're doing new substrates or you're printing on some material that you haven't before, or maybe even trying a new one of our products with your heat press, and everybody's setup is different. I mean, the relative humidity in the room matters, the pressure that your press is set at. And then when you go from printing like a hoodie back to a regular cotton t-shirt, be sure you're adjusting your pressure. But when applied correctly, our transfers last over 50 washes. And in most cases, the print is going to outlast the actual shirt. You'll see the shirt starting to break down and wear out long before that print really starts degrading. It is plastisol ink, so it's going to wear and last like any other screen printed shirt that you have. Don't be nervous when people say transfers. Like, these screen printed transfers are screen printed. And it's all created right here in EasyView Online Designer. So grouping multiple artworks on the sheet, if you're familiar with us, we call it gang sheeting. So if you hear me mention gang sheets a little bit later in this presentation or in any other future presentations, or you go and watch the YouTube and you hear us mention gang sheets, that just means our 11.5 by 14-inch sheet that you buy your artwork on with our screen printed transfers. But it means that there's multiple images grouped together on that one sheet, so you are splitting the print cost. So let's say this sheet at the quantity we're buying, let's say if it's like 12 quantity or something, it's $6 a sheet. And so if we have 3 pieces of artwork on here, that's $2 per print. And then we're getting the logo for free. So you see how you could build so much profit by printing all of these different items all with one sheet. Now we're going to talk about booth setup. If we've talked about creating your designs, you order your transfers, they ship as fast as one day. Are you pressing them at home or in your shop, or are you printing them on demand on site? And that's one thing that is absolutely awesome about heat printing, is that you can print on demand, but without the need to buy a, multiple $1,000 direct to garment printer, along with maintaining the inks. Those machines do not travel well. So you would not be able to print on demand on site because maybe the relative humidity in the room is wrong. You're not going to be able to climate control an entire huge hall or wherever the venue is for this craft show to be sure that the humidity and the temperature is right. So that is out of the question. With a screen printed transfer in your heat press, you have much more wiggle room for absolute success. If it's too humid in the room, just pre-press and get your garments longer and get the moisture out of them. But there are huge advantages and disadvantages to both pre-pressing and printing on demand. So first, let's talk about printing on demand at a show. Now, for outdoor shows, we did a video again on our YouTube. I'm starting to sound like a broken record that we have so many of these educational resources, both on our blog, blog.transferexpress.com, and on our YouTube, youtube.com/transferexpress, where we've covered a lot of these topics already. Well, we went outside with a heat press and setting up for like a farmer's market or a craft fair outside during the summer. We brought the canopy and we brought a backdrop banner. We brought a little bit of grid wall for our display. We talked about displaying your pricing, which we're going to get to in a little bit here as well. But we talked about all this, and we even pressed on site outside. We were outside in the middle of summer in Ohio. It was a little bit humid, a little bit hot, but the breeze was rolling. And man, that heat press, other than when the breeze really was going, it stayed at temperature. We were able to print shirts outside. So doing this inside is much, much easier. With that breeze rolling outside and the high humidity, man, a direct-to-garment printer would have just been an absolute nightmare. Now, of course, we're going to need electric. So that's the first basic need that we need. That's the disadvantage to really printing on demand. It also could take too much time to print, especially if your booth is super busy and it's slamming. And now every time that someone's like, I want that design on that color of hoodie, and then you have to go find where the hoodie is, pull it out, and that's going to take time. So you can't just easily pull and ring out customers as well. But the main advantage here is that it's minimizing risk and letting you hold on to the physical inventory of blank shirts that you brought with you. Say you come with a limited array of colorways. You bring, I'm bringing a black shirt, I'm bringing a heather gray, I'm bringing a yellow, and a blue. Those are the 4 colors that I'm bringing. I'm bringing those same 4 colors in hoodies too. And you're showing up to this event. You have a bin of hoodies, a bin of shirts, all in those 4 different colors. You have some shirts pre-printed already. You absolutely should pre-print some shirts so that people understand what you're getting. So they see the shirt on the wall, and that you're able to, you need to advertise and you need to show people what you're offering. So you'll pre-print some, but we're talking about the bulk majority of what you're going to be selling here. So pre-printing or on demand. So you can see that if you minimize the risk, nobody buys the yellows. That's perfectly fine. You still have blank inventory of the yellows then. They're not pre-printed with a design you don't think is going to sell. Then maybe down the road, you make like a banana design and bam, then you sell all your yellow shirts. Also, blank apparel wholesalers do sometimes allow returns for a small restocking fee. So if the yellows don't sell, return them and go buy greens or something, So it's just about reducing risk. Now, when I talk about pressing our goof-proof screen print and transfers fast, that is where it really speed things up. So if it takes, let's say it takes 4 to 5 seconds for you to turn around and grab a black shirt from your bin in size small, and it takes you another 2 seconds to find the artwork that your customer wants to buy, it's only 4 seconds then to press. It's a hot peel, no waiting around, and you could hand them that t-shirt. I mean, I'm talking literally hot off the press. Give it to them, and even as that's, you don't even have time to process the credit card transaction in 4 to 6 seconds when you're pressing a goof-proof transfer in 4 to 6 seconds. It just happens so quick. But when you get in some other transfer types that are 15 seconds, or even if you dabble in sublimation too, you don't really have time to be pre-pressing for a full minute at a very, very busy show. And obviously you don't want to be turning customers away or having them wait too long, because just like how long a website takes to load, people are going to be like, I'll loop back around. And then when they loop back around, you're still busy, and then they're going home without actually stopping at your booth. So you want to keep it going. So we could say that could also possibly be disadvantage, depending on the transfer type that you're doing. But with goof-proof, it's just so quick, so easy with transfers already cut out, where you could just point and say, I want that skyline graphic on a black tee, size medium, and you, by the time they're done saying it, everything's already aligned on the press, and you're pressing, and you go, here you go. Here's your brand new shirt. Also, pressing on site allows you the ability to do customization. So if you're bringing a vinyl cutter with you as well, or maybe you have, another way of decorating some custom cut names. If you have a white toner printer or something that maybe you could bring with you, it's definitely super complicating things here, but having a press on site allows you to customize on site, which could give some extra value to your apparel. You obviously could be charging more and making more profit, but that helps to have somebody kind of behind the scenes then saying, oh, you want to put your family's last name on this blanket? Absolutely. So it says the Connor family Christmas. Absolutely, we could do that. We just need to cut out your name real quick. So it's a great way to offer that customization on site. Now, if you're pre-pressing and you're showing up with all of your designs ready to sell, man, it's great for just quick, easy, ready to go sales. But all you have to do is make sure that you have everything super organized and you know where each size is. One great way to do that is put everything in poly bags so you're not fishing around in a sea of shirts. Because I don't know about you, you could fold up all the shirts and put them in a bin, but the second you go dig into the bottom of that bin, man, every single shirt is unfolded. And then you have to worry about dust or anything spilling in there, or, and sometimes these venues that you're at are very dusty and dirty. So you don't want to be getting your inventory dirty, having to pick them up, put them out of the bin, put them back in the bin. So that is one way to do it. But you do have everything pre-printed. So if you could easily look in and go, that's a large in black with the skyline graphic, cool, pull it out, here you go. You do give your customers a little bit more personalization with printing on site because then everything is already set. And you might not, you're going to say, oh, I ran out of this colorway, but I still could print it on these 3 different colors instead of, oh yeah, I ran out of the pre-printed graphic, so I don't have any of these left. So, there's different disadvantages to both, but quick and easy to sell if you're pre-pressing and bringing them on site. The transactions are quick, and we don't have to worry about the dedicated electric line that you'll be running your heat press to as well. Now, the cons, obviously, if you are not selling the designs, you are now sitting on printed inventory of that shirt. Now, I'm not doubting that you could sell the shirt. I am very, very, very positive that you could sell the shirts, but maybe not today. And now that inventory has become a liability because you're holding on to it when you expected to sell it. So that is one thing that printing on demand could really, really help with. Carnetta, please repeat what you recommend putting shirts in. So I love the big plastic bins. When I was a traveling musician, that's how we carried all of our merch, with a locking lid. It was watertight, it was airtight pretty much, so it kept any funky smells out. When you're in a touring band on the road and you live out of a van, let's be honest, there's some funky smells. So we didn't want to be selling people some funky smelling t-shirts. But everything was polybagged too, with size stickers on them. Makes it really super easy to go through. The one thing that we've seen, and I'll talk about it here in a couple slides, are the wooden crates. Those craft wooden crates that you could get at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or Joann Fabrics. Even I think sometimes you could catch them at like any home improvement stores. They're there as well. So definitely a ton of stuff that you could put in there. What do you recommend for printing on demand? Michelle asks. T-shirts, hoodies, tote bags, anything. Pretty much just bring your blanks and bring your screen printed transfers. I will always pre-cut them before showing up on site, so you don't have to worry about any of that. Even if you're doing different locations, if you're printing the back and the front, bring all those graphics, and then you could give people the possibility to pretty much create their own shirt, which is real cool. So we're talking about booth setup here. And this is kind of a quick one because this varies depending on what you're doing. So you want to think about how easy and quick it is to set up. You want to think about how it could also display your pricing and let the customers see the full design. So one of my favorites are these cubes up here. Equipment, Michelle, heat press. I love the Hotronic 16x20 auto clam, but like I showed here, let me just go back a couple slides, right here, the pink craft press. This press weighs like 30 pounds, so you could lift it up and tote it around pretty much with one arm. I like to think I'm pretty strong. I work out. I'm just kidding. I don't work out, but I can easily lift up the craft press here at 30 pounds with one arm. It's a 9x12 printing area, so it could fit most presses, or even our A to Z press, where it is it's a larger press, but you're going to need two people to lift it. Same with a Hotronics auto clam. Anything bigger, and it could be a hassle to move, and heavy. And please team lift, don't hurt your back. But obviously these smaller heat presses are super easy, super portable. If you guys are staying tuned, we actually have a brand new low-cost, affordable heat press that is going to start being sold. And this is, I think, like the first tease or the first mention of it. But on Monday, we are releasing exclusively through Transfer Express. We're going to be offering the Stahl's Clam Basic Press. And it's available in 3 different sizes, all super lightweight to take to shows just like this. But yeah, there we go. Mike put that link in there to the craft press. Check that one out. So here, back to the booth setup. Quick, easy, ready to go. The grid boxes and cubes like that, where it's kind of two-sided, so you could see like where the kind of Captain America star is on that red one. That behind it is the blue shirt stacked, and then behind it you could reach in. So it's almost double-sided. Great if you're on an end of an aisle or anything. Something like this is awesome. Even if it's not on the end of an aisle, anything like this is super cool, because then you're able to just fold the t-shirt up and put it in a little 12x12 frame. Now we're talking, those frames are the same frames that people use for framing record covers. And what you could do is just take the backing and either cut the t-shirt to a 12x12 size and just use spray tack to spray it on there. But if you are printing on demand, this is one of the best ways to do it. That way they could see the graphic on a t-shirt, then in those little boxes, you would just have the blank t-shirt stacked there. So they could bring the blank t-shirt in the correct size to you, and you could maybe already even pre-print them to have the inside tag on the printed on the inside of the neck, and you already have the label removed, has the sizes, maybe you already have them hang tagged, and then all you're doing when they bring it to you is marrying it with the graphic that they want. Bam, you print it and it's theirs. But that's a great way to display those. Even if you do have them pre-printed, that way people aren't pulling it out to see what graphic is on the shirt and unfolding the shirt. They leave the shirts folded up until they go to look for their size, and then bam, they know what the graphic looks like. Landon, of course, there's a replay available. If you registered, you gave us your email, we are going to email you the link for the replay once we get this all wrapped up and concluded. Now, of course, right below that, the easiest way to do it, just fold them up onto a t-shirt. Maybe you have one of them standing up so you can see that it's a t-shirt, but even something as simple as that. And then if you look real close on that bottom graphic, they have little tags on each one of the shirts. And on each one of those shirts, that tells you what the price is. So make sure your pricing is displayed. Even if you have the little kind of grid wall, the paneling, they make those little holders that could hold, that are traditionally made for holding signage, the little 8.5 by 11, or sometimes they make them bigger, like a 10 by 14. Bam, you can put a t-shirt into that as well. Just keep it closed and it'll show the graphic if you're printing on demand. Now, of course, more like a big merch booth. As you can see in the upper right-hand corner, everything hung up on a grid wall. And I absolutely love grid wall for its modular kind of setup. And then it breaks down and folds so easily to be stashed in the side of a trailer or in the back of your car. But one thing you could see here in this merch booth is there are just boxes and boxes and boxes right in the middle there that are a mess of t-shirts. So that's what I'm talking about. When you go dig into the bottom of the pile and you pull it on out, man, just completely everything's unfolded. Everything's a mess. And then just held over little dowels there on the bottom right. Super easy way. And you kind of still see it's a t-shirt with the collar, but they also have the pricing displayed on it as well. Joel, to reduce theft, my favorite thing at these craft shows, which theft is usually pretty low, is put any merchandise able to be like straight up grabbed and walked away with behind the desk. So you'll have a table up front that'll be your point of sale. And that's why I like these, like in the upper right, you have the table and that looks like it's maybe for like a band or a merch booth or something. And so you have like the flatware and maybe you have some stickers and stuff that you want to sell too, or little postcards that you have them at the bottom, but then everything's behind the table. So anything that anybody could grab and quickly walk away with is not super, super expensive. It's not a blank t-shirt. It's not a printed t-shirt, not anything like that. And so depends on how you want to do it. So you just want to make sure that you keep any high dollar stuff away from being able to be easily accessed by people. So again, with your booth setup, presentation is key. Think of it as your own little storefront. Make sure everything is proudly displayed. And if you want to bring, my favorite thing of a lot of these craft fairs and stuff is that people are bringing little wares from home. So like the little suitcase here and the end table and the rocking chair, like the bookshelf, they make it feel so homey and invite you in, and they make it feel like their own little pop-up storefront, because that's essentially what it is. The more personality you have, the more branding you have, the more organized it is, more likely that people are going to find what they wanted and they're going to buy. Don't overcrowd your space, because then it just gets so super crazy with sensory overload going from different aesthetic booth to booth as you are a customer walking around a craft fair. And yeah, it just makes it super, super crazy. If you have one specific item that you know is your most popular seller on your Etsy store and in other shows that you've done, man, show up to the show and put it front and center. You know that people want it. You know that people are going to buy it. Make sure your prices are visible. I mentioned it before and I'll mention it again. If people know how much something costs, they're more likely to buy it. Now, one thing is don't make them humongous. Make them see the product first and then go, oh, how much does that cost? You know, that's going to be the second question that they have after seeing it. Like, I want that. How much does it cost? Make them have that I want that moment and not have sticker shock. If you walked up to a band's merch booth and you went and you just saw $65, you wouldn't even look at those hoodies. You'd be like, what? $65? I'm not paying that for a hoodie, and you'd walk away. But the second you see a hoodie and you go, oh man, I love that design. Oh, it has the tour dates on the back. Oh, $65. You know what? Yeah, I want it. And you've already fell in love with the product. So give that moment to your customers. Wood crates, I mentioned before, awesome to add depth. You could kind of see them in the background that they are double dutying as storage options and adding a nice little vibe to that bottom booth there underneath the canopy tent. So Annika, rolling up shirts is an awesome idea. You could rubber band them. You could even put little flyers and stuff rubber banded to them with the size or your store's information, or you're hang tagging them and keeping the hang tag out after you've already rolled them. Rolling shirts is an awesome way to keep them organized. If you have too many shirts to polybag on your own, or if you don't want to buy polybags and you're able to roll them up, they also take up a little bit of room. I mean, when I pack and I'm packing suitcases to fit, and I always travel with the carry-on that's overstuffed, but I'll roll my shirts to take up less room. So another thing that you could do with your booth setup as well is bring a mannequin. So it shows the fit, the feel, the finish, and it makes somebody imagine that they're wearing it. Which brings me to my next point. Like, you should absolutely be wearing your apparel yourself. You're going to be promoting it. But in your booth setup, make sure you have a sign that says you accept credit card. That's going to ease anybody's purchase anxiety if they're like, oh, they take cash only? Oh, I don't see if they take MasterCard. I want to use my Discover card for this. Let them know everything that you take, which is really, really super simple if you use Square. If you purchase a Square reader from the company Square that processes credit card payments, they give you a little sticker that says payments through Square, which automatically builds trust that they know that their credit card information is going to be encrypted and kept safe. But it also says accepts Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, so that people go, oh, they could take my form of payment. Perfect. If you are not accepting credit cards, you are missing out on sales. And I know there's a lot of old school folks that are like, no, we're going to do cash only. We want to keep it off the books. But you are doing yourself a disservice by missing out on sales. Sure, you might have to start paying taxes as the years come up here, but absolutely, you are going to make more money and make up for those taxes that you're going to have to pay by keeping things on the book. Also, your accountant will love you for it because all of these credit card processing apps keep a full ledger. And so you're able to see all of your transactions. And if you're nerdy about numbers and analytics like I am, I like looking at that stuff too. So it's perfect. So another thing is packaging your sales. So after everything's all rung out, you've made the purchase, give them something that they could then walk around the show and advertise for your business. It's so super simple as buying stickers from Transfer Express. You could design them in Easy View while you're doing it and then just select full color or non-apparel and select the decals or the stickers. And then just get bags from Uline and throw a sticker on them. Or we've seen people buy rubber stamps and just rubber stamp tissue paper or, you could buy the packaging tape. So if you're folding it up, you're gift wrapping it in tissue paper and then putting a branded packaging tape on it. But if you're buying those, the paper bags, just the tiny little paper bags with the handle, buying a rubber stamp for your brand and rubber stamping that stuff is just so super simple and cheap to take a 15-cent bag and now it's branded to your business. And the rubber stamp cost you maybe $15 to make, and you could make hundreds and thousands of actual bags for your business if you're going to be doing something like this a lot. Of course, you want to give them a postcard or a business card or, something for them to remember you by, especially if you have an online store, an Etsy store, or a Facebook page, an email list that you want customers to sign up for, or one of my favorite things, a coupon for a future purchase. On the back of a business card, excuse me, on the back of a business card, it has, hey, 10% off when you buy online at myshop.com. And so you could go on over, they go to your shop and go, man, somebody sees them wearing the tee and goes, man, I really want another one. And they're like, oh, their birthday's coming up. I know where to get it. And I could get it 10% off. You're going to encourage repeat sales by offering discounts to repeat customers. And then you're going to build a relationship with these people. And that is absolutely the way to do it. So make sure you're putting a package stuffer in that package and giving them something for free to remember you by. You know where you bought it from. And when you reinforce your brand 3 or 4 times now during the sale, you had it on your sign. It's printed on the inside of the t-shirt where the label is. You gave them a little postcard saying thank you, and then a business card that said, hey, this is where you can find us online, interact with us, tell us how we did, review us. Oh, and by the way, 10% off your next order. That's 4 touch points for your brand, man. You are going to be building so much recognition and awareness to your business with just going to one of these craft shows, Sabrina, thanks so much. We are a nice channel, and we hope that we have good ideas to help you guys out. We are always looking to help you out. So here is an awesome booth setup checklist. Screenshot this right now if you're going to any single craft show. This is from Made Urban's Pinterest. Which if you are doing stuff like craft shows like this, go check them out. They have awesome resources. And we wanted to shout them out because they do have so many awesome resources, even more than us just recreating this list. We very could have easily just ripped this off, but that's not who we are. We want to do the right thing, and we want to help you and your business out. And this craft fair checklist is just an awesome way to just look at everything and how much is, everything here from bills and coins for change, the credit card reader, to directions to the venue, money for parking, the dollies, the bins, even personal and comfort, coffee. I mean, these guys tugged at my heartstrings. That's me. Coffee on the personal and comfort list? Absolutely. Even before water. Come on, that's me. Made Urban Pinterest was the name of the site that we got this off of. But everything here, screenshot this, go check them out. There's tons of checklists just like this one. And of course, we'll be emailing this out afterward, after the presentation's all done, to the email address that you signed up to this webinar with. But we absolutely want to be helping you guys out. Even outdoors, the tents, the weights, the sunglasses, sunscreen, a small fan or heater. And this list has everything for you. And then it even allows you some blank spaces to put your own stuff down. So having a checklist when you're going to any event is absolutely key. For me, my sanity, I want to make sure everything that I brought is packed up. So I'll use it on the way there and the way back. But also making sure you're prepared is going to set you up for success, and you're going to be able to sell every single thing that you want to sell when you're not worried about, oh man, did I bring my phone charger? You already had it, you checked it off on the list, and you know exactly where it's packed, man. And that's the way to do it, so that you are set up and prepared for anything that's going to arise at the show. That way you could, you could talk about your products with your customers instead of worrying about things, which brings us to our last slide here, promoting your booth. Number one, wear your items, wear the merch that you have for sales. People can see the quality of it, see that you love it. And coming from a creator, excuse me, my throat's starting to get a little dry here, but wearing your items, coming from a creator, when you have belief and you have confidence in your products, other people will too. A big thing that we've seen is telling your story. Tell your story, just like here, the Northern Ties. Just put in a little photo frame, type up a little story. When you make that personal connection and you tell your customers where you're coming from, man, we moved to a new city and we had trouble finding jobs. We were both in the creative market. We worked in the print industry for a little bit, and we needed to find a way that we could take care of our sick, ailing mother, and we had a toddler at home, so we couldn't spend time going away to jobs that we wanted to be with our family, and we wanted to connect with each other. And so we started making our own apparel based on our adventures, and it's all wanderlust stuff and travel. And come on, you connect with that story and you feel for them and you go, man, I'm not just buying a shirt that I love the design of, but I am supporting a good cause. And that's what telling your story gets you out for. It puts you out there and it makes you seem vulnerable and real, and that you're real people, you're real crafters, and people will connect with you and buy more. Promote on social before you show up to an event. Say, hey, guys, Cleveland, even if you're going to buy some social ads, if the venue and the organization who's doing the craft fair, if they're not doing it in the first place, I mean, you could buy ads and say, hey, we're going to have a whole bunch of local, Texas apparel at the craft show in Fort Worth this weekend coming up. Get out there and tell people, and then they'll make it a point. If they're going to there, they're going to stop at your booth and see it. Sometimes even these festival organizers and the craft fair organizers, these flea market organizers even put a pamphlet out, or they'll offer some advertisement on their social page where they already have their engaged audience. Jump on that if it's not too expensive and you could afford it, because then people will remember you. They'll know what products you're selling, and you could even do something like limited time, like, man, we have a raffle giveaway for any purchase, so make sure you stop early. Or the first 15 people who come to the booth and buy something get a free koozie, or you're throwing koozies in with every purchase. Or we've seen thank you postcards double as little mini prints that somebody could frame and hang up, or give away as a little stocking stuffer for Christmas. So there's just tons of stuff that you could do. And again, when you have everything taken care of, your checklist is checked off, you could be attentive, mingle with the audience, talk to the customers, connect and help prospective customers. You could answer questions and engage with the people who are near you, especially, the booth next door. Maybe they have jewelry that you want. You could trade them some t-shirts for it. It's so much. But yeah, Robert, working festivals is a lot of hard work, but it also is a lot of fun, and it could really pay off in the profit department. So don't eat at your booth. Don't eat at your booth. Don't sit down. Be attentive, be engaged, and you are going to have success. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for attending. And I hope that we were able to share some super helpful information that's going to help you absolutely crush it this holiday craft fair season. Guys, you absolutely could stay in touch with us. We are always more than happy to help. Email us at info@transferexpress.com. You could call us 1-800-622-2280. Always our blog.transferexpress.com. We're putting new stuff up there every single day. Maybe Mike could link in a post that's very similar to this webinar and or the post that we just posted today about printing for some Thanksgiving events. Of course, you would always go to transferexpress.com/webinars, watch all of our previous videos and webinars, and go to our YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube, youtube.com/transferexpress. We have 2 videos every single week that we drop and put out there to only help you guys out. The most recent video that we have, we don't even talk about custom transfers. We talk about what's popular in hoodie styles. We're not trying to oversell you guys here. We are absolutely 100% trying to help you and your t-shirt business. That's what Transfer Express is about. We want you to grow. We want you to profit. We want you to be successful. And we just love the passion that you guys have for making your business better and the apparel decorating industry. It's why we're here. It's what we do it, guys. Thank you so much for attending, and we will catch you again in just a couple weeks. Stay tuned and make sure you go subscribe. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day and happy pressing.